Be ready. 15 seconds. Sir, no governments, no party has any magic solutions to those problems, and those problems are going to be with us. The problems of reviving economic growth, the problem of massive unemployment, the problem of resource mobilization, the problem of savings, investment, etc., the problem of energy, the problem of shortage of power, electrical, hydro, and other forms of power, not the political power, as there is no shortage of political power. But there is shortage of this power where every scheme of areas, every project of areas, almost every unit of enterprise is roadblocked because of the shortage of power and energy. The problem of finding a happy combination between hardcore economic policies for economic revival with distributed justice with constraints on the growth of the kind of economic activity which would deprive merit. How to find this balance and how to revive the economy. These are massive problems for which we need a massive national effort, and I am pleading for a new national consensus, the path that has already proved to be the most suitable, the path of the public sector enjoying the commanding heights while we retain freedom of enterprise in certain important sectors. Sir, the President has also in his speech mentioned the international situation, although in somewhat subdued terms because of the gravity of the situation. There is no doubt that the international situation is grim. The psychology of the Cold War is again gripping the big powers. Sir, we have had an occasion to discuss certain developments on our borders, Afghanistan and Pakistan, and I have spoken on them at length, and I do propose to repeat those things. But I would like to submit three major factors in the international situation at present, positive and negative. Only when we understand these can we evolve suitable responses also. One is the problem of adjustments to the realities of the new situation. The new situation is that at one time we saw one power or one set of powers predominant, dominating the seas, dominating the pathways, and now another power, another set of powers have arisen with an equal measure of power. To find adjustment and harmony is one of the major problems. We had the philosophy or the theory of the excess of power. We had the theory of sufficiency of superiority, and we had the theory of sufficiency of power here. My good friend, the agriculture minister, is here. I do not know whether he is interested in the international problems, but I hope he will convey some of our ideas to those who are directly dealing with these. I would like to mention the second problem. It is also a negative one, if I may put it in this kind of glitch, that the power of the powerful is increasing at a fantastic rate, and that the distance between it and the other is increasing sharply. We have seen the experience of the UNIDO conference, which is taking place these days, how difficult it is for the international community to work towards a new international economic order because the powerful do not find it in their interests to agree to a new international economic order which would be more just, and that makes it necessary for us precisely for that reason to consult forces with all other similarly situated countries to work for a new international economic order. But the third factor which I will mention and which is a positive factor is that the power of the powerful may be increasing at a fast rate, but there are limits to the use of that power. You have enormous weapons. You can destroy the world many times over, but you cannot use those weapons. The balance of terror has given leverage to less powerful countries. Those countries who may not be a large power like India and others to come together, to work together and to exercise more leverage. And finally, sir, I would like to say that there is an immediate problem for this country because for the first time we are being encircled. There is the US, China, Pakistan combined. Whatever may be their calculations for the rest of the world. And I know that at least the United States is worried, is bothered, is concerned about the Gulf more than anything else, about the Middle East, about the oil and so on and so forth. The actual impact of that is happening. The actual consequence of it is encirclement of India for the first time by three major powers. There will be bases there. Today we read in the newspapers that the minister is going to the special assistant to the US president himself is going to Pakistan. Now this is an ominous development for which we must find suitable responses. I would suggest a multi-pronged approach. The first element of that approach must be to exercise all our influence to restrain the big powers. Sir, unfortunately for most of us, what is decided by the highest judicial authority in our country is that the directive principles are not as important as fundamental rights. It is most unfortunate. I do not mean any criticism against any individual sitting judge. I mean criticism from the point of view of the principle adopted to decide the cases. The directive principles are not only the duties cast upon the state, they are a sort of right available to the citizens as a whole in the country, to the society as a whole. We consider the right available to an individual and we do not consider the right available to so many individuals in the country. We are committing a mistake somewhere. They have decided that because directive principles are not justiciable, fundamental rights are more important, and when a law is made to implement the directive principles, if it goes against the fundamental right, it has to be struck down. That is most unfortunate.